Hey everyone, Selwyn here from WynnStrength. On today's quick training tip video, I wanted to talk about deload weeks. I recently took a week off after about 2 to 3 months of straight training. On today's video, I wanted to talk about how to do them, why you should do them, and when to know you should take a deload week. So first off, the what. What is a deload week? Deload week, as the name implies, is simply taking off some sort of load from your training. Whether that be training frequency, so going from 3 to 4 days to maybe 1 to 2 days or 0 days, reducing the training volume, so reducing the amount of reps and or tonnage you do, so combination of reducing weight and reps, and finally keeping those reps the same and decreasing the amount of weight you use. So there's kind of the 4 main ways to look about a deload week, and really the ultimate goal of that is to just let your body recover and adapt to the stress you've been placing on it up until that point, because hopefully you've been on some sort of training program, training plan, some sort of structure to how you're training, where there is some sort of intensifying wave up to some sort of penultimate deload week or the end of the training program, whatever that may be. But ideally we're not just training at one level for a long time. We're kind of doing some sort of progression towards getting better, which means at some point there's going to be an overcompensation of stress, which means for that stress to be able to continue ramping up, there becomes a point where we need to somewhat take a break from that stress to allow the body to kind of catch up and recover, because not everything recovers and adapts in a linear fashion. So that week off allows the body to accommodate and get you're ideally returning stronger than you were when you left. So that's kind of why you want to do a deload week. There's a lot of, complex science behind it, but for the most part, you're just really giving your body a rest, kind of like everyone needs a holiday from whatever it is that they're doing. Finally, how frequently should you be doing a deload week? So that begs the question of, should you have planned deload weeks, or should you have more reactionary deload weeks where you kind of just take a deload week when you're kind of thinking that you should need one? And again, that comes down to personal preference. If you're training with like a really strict regimented training program, there's probably going to be built-in training weeks into the program, usually every 6 to 8 to 12 weeks, something like those revolutions or something like that. And it's a good idea to stick to that, especially if you're in a training program, just because the training program has been designed in a certain way to peak up to that point and then drop off the stress to allow your body to recover, like I was mentioning before. Now, if you're kind of training with more of a base plan, so you have a direction of where to train, but you don't really have set targets what you're hitting each week, maybe that's where more of a reactionary training plan, a more reactionary deload week comes into play. And it brings us to the next topic of, when should you take a deload week? A couple of signs that you should know you should take a deload week. First off being your mental state around training. Now, we're all going to have those days here and there where we don't feel like training, but we go to the gym anyway, or we don't go to the gym. Whichever it is, we have those down days. One single down day isn't really enough to warrant a deload week. However, if you're noticing at least half of your training days for that week are starting to, you're not really wanting to go to over half of your training programs for that week or training days for that week, might be a sign that you should think about deloading, maybe not that week, but the week after next week. That way you can see if that trend continues of mental boredom, mental fatigue around training. So what you want to do is build back up that mental arousal around training. So when after that week you come back and you're really excited to train. And that's going to be one sign, might be an early warning sign that you need to take a break from training. Second sign really come down to physical factors. If you notice your weights and reps and tonnage, your performance metrics aren't matching your training plan, then that's going to be another sign that you might need a deload week. Kind of like if you're starting to see that plateau, maybe what you need to do is take a week off and then come back better and stronger than you were last time. Or you're noticing that your RPEs are shooting through the roof. So hypothetically, 225 is an RPE 8. And if all of a sudden next week that 225 becomes like a failed set, so you couldn't even lift that 225 for a single, then that might be another early warning sign that next week, take a week off or lighten some of that load. So those are kind of the signs you may think that may signal that you need a deload week. And that's kind of where that reactionary deload week comes into play. Another option is when we couple those factors with a structured deload week. If you're still feeling strong and everything's progressing like perfectly, and you know that this next coming week is going to be a deload week, look at how you can delay that deload week until those signs start to come up. So just say it's week 5, week 6 is going to be your deload week. Week 5, everything's going great. RPE is feeling good. The weights are going up. All of your performance metrics are shooting up, and you're really excited about training. None of those, not risk factors, but none of those factors around deload weeks are kind of coming into play. So maybe instead of doing the deload week in week 6, you push it back to week 7 or week 8 and kind of play it by week until you start seeing those early warning signs that you might need a deload week. So hopefully that helps you with your training and training management around how to mitigate stress and plan around stress, so that over the course of the year, we're not burning out too soon and we're actually being productive for as much time as possible. This has been Selwyn from WynnStrength, and remember, a better life through strength.